friggin' go?
Mm-hmm. That's real, yeah.
The enthusiasm abounds. Hey, everybody. Welcome to A Million Little Podcast. And this is episode 13. Lucky 13. We're recording on February 13th.
Whoa. So, get your conspiracy theory motors running.
Mm-hmm. And this is, we have good news for everyone listening right now. Not only is this episode coming out much more quickly than last one did, I feel like we've alternated. We've had like a week break. We've been late, right away. So that's good news. But also, I'm here. You heard Jamie a little bit there. I'm Kevin. And then we have, ladies and gentlemen.
It's great to be back, guys.
Yay!
Dave is here, and I was saying to Jamie the other day on the last podcast that you weren't here for, Dave. I don't know if you heard this, but I do think, according to Twitter, I think I'm easily people's third favorite member of this podcast. So people are, I think, very excited to have you back, as I am, to have Dave Miller back in the mix.
Thanks a lot. Well, I don't know. Because you're kind of like the main host, sort of like maybe they just, everyone loves you, so that's like a gift.
Everyone does love me.
So that's just down to Jamie and I. So
I'll fight you for the number one spot, Dave.
Oh no, you can have it. That's fine.
Sweet.
I'll do an Insta poll. Follow us on A Million Little Podcast on Instagram and at A Million Podcast on Twitter. And I will just say, who's your favorite member of this podcast?
You're gonna Buttigieg me, and I'm gonna drop to 3. I bet.
No, I'm only gonna have you two as options. I'm out.
No. You got to put yourself in.
No,
that's not a real poll. Then I reject the results.
It's a real poll. And this episode is called Daisy. I thought, it's skipping to the end a little bit, but I thought the reason why it's called Daisy, I thought was a relatively good backstory on that, which we'll get to ultimately.
And they saved it for the very end.
Yeah. Oh, also, Jamie and I got dragged on Twitter for
because of how stupid we are.
Yeah, I guess this is like the corrections
jokes
section.
On you. I know already.
In a newspaper. Yeah, jokes on everything. I don't give a shit. But Dave, so the last episode, did you see the last episode?
I did, yeah.
Okay. I mean, the one before Daisy. So Jamie and I both did not get that there was like flashbacks involved, that Eric's significant other, that his wife, I guess, or fiance, that she had the heart transplant and then died 6 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could have been missed. I mean, that easily could have been missed.
We needed you here, Dave.
I know. Yeah, because I think we thought she was getting the heart transplant after the motorcycle accident.
Yeah, because the first thing you see is them getting on the motorcycle, and then later you see the flashback with her getting the heart transplant, and we thought that she just got her heart doinked out of her body from the motorcycle.
Yeah, we thought it was a classic heart doink.
And that's what DJ Nash wants you to think, let's be honest here. And we didn't find out about the 6-year thing because Eric was having a conversation through the door. Sometimes it's hard when there's dialogue on a TV show, you just can't hear it that well. So yeah, I mean, it could have been easily missed.
Yeah, normally I'm good at picking up on that stuff, but not that time.
Yeah. So Dave, since we got you back, let's we'll use the full Dave power here to guide us to our first person or first topic you want to talk about. Where do you want to start?
Well, I was going to start with Papa. I think they call him Papa, Delilah's dad.
Yeah, which leads me to a question. What did you guys call your male grandparents?
It was Grandpa last name for me. Unfortunately, I didn't meet the one who I wanted to meet. As the youngest of 7, he just passed away too soon. I was the last kid.
Right.
But yeah, it was just Grandpa and then the last name.
Only had one, and it's an Opa, because they German.
Opa situation. See, I had an Irish Opa, weirdly, and then straight up Papa on the other side.
Yeah, you got a Papa.
Yeah. So yeah, all right. So we got that guy. He's and he's suffering with Alzheimer's. They put up a thing at the end to donate to Alzheimer's causes or something.
Alzheimer's 1. They could have popped up a lot of different things for this friggin' episode. Could have been cancer. True. Could have been women shelters. Could have been, suicide. That's just blanket for this show.
So Dave, talk Papa to me.
Yeah, so his name's Lenny, and I'm like, okay, guys, we've never met this person before. And
have we?
Yeah, definitely. I was half right. So I do some research, and yes, we have met the father before on that Friday Night Pizza episode from season 1 where he slips and he says, like, where's John or something, and then that's kind of where we get the whole inkling that he might have Alzheimer's. But this guy was recast. It's now being played by Paul Boy from CSI.
Yeah, it used to be Major Dad, and he started talking, and at first I couldn't remember.
Yes. Yeah, that's right, Major Dad.
Yeah, I was like, this is not Major Dad. My notes are just like, wait a minute, who is this? Is this a new John's dad? No, wait, it's Delilah's dad. It's not Major Dad. Okay, they recast.
Is Major Dad dead?
No.
IRL?
I looked this up, and Gerald McRaney is very much alive. He had a scheduling conflict.
Come on, Gerald. I mean, what? It would take 8 hours to shoot this episode? That's hard to believe you can't get Major Dad back.
Also, this time I got real confused that her dad wasn't French, because I feel like the last time he was around, Delilah wasn't French. And now this time, I'm like, wait a sec.
There's only so much French.
But they go out of their way. It's like, he was overseas, and then with a lady, and it's like, all right, so the mom was French, but now you have a French accent? I don't know, you guys.
The story of the young sergeant, I guess, one of the 12 stories the dad, he can't quite remember, and then Sophie is telling Charlie at the end of the episode. Very sweet, very nice. I guess that explains how he found a French woman. He was over there for the war, I assume. Right?
Couldn't get up the nerve to ask out the sexy lady, so he kept buying daisies from her. Yeah, and then eventually she came to America, and he brought her daisies and said, "All the daisies that I bought from you were for you." Mm-hmm.
That's very nice. And but yeah, he was not French at all. And Dave and I used to take French classes together. That's how deep we go. You were
absolutely, man. We got C- and D+ together.
We sure did. I think you typically were better in French class than I was.
Well, that's only because I wanted to make sure I did my homework for participation. I don't think did much homework.
I think you're right about that. I think I was sort of, I would say I did almost less homework than anyone who's ever graduated high school, I think, overall.
Yeah, because I did okay in German class, but it's only because I did the homework. I was pretty bad at German.
Dave knows at the final French class I ever took, and Jamie knows this too, I've told the story, but basically...
It's one of your 12.
Yeah, what's that?
It's one of your 12 stories.
It's one of my 12 stories. Is that it's one of my dues? Isn't dues 12, Dave?
Oof.
Hold on. You know what, Kevin? You beat me.
Owns, dues.
I don't even know. Dues sounds right.
I think so. I'm just going to say yes.
I don't know 12 in German.
But I mathematically was eliminated from passing French. There was no way I would have had to have gotten like a 400% on the final to pass. And so one of the questions, you had to write in French, how dare they, an essay response. And I just completely bailed. I ignored what the question was, and I just wrote like, Madame, please, I promise if you take pity on me and help me get a D- in this class, I'll never take a French class again. And
the fact that you could even write that in French, to me, is quite impressive.
Thank you.
I could not do that in German. All I remember from German class is that it was an opportunity for, like, when a German word sounded kind of dirty, like, all the boys in class would be real into it. Like, the name for green beans is Grüne Bohnen.
Grüne Bohnen.
So there was a lot of that. But then one time we played German bingo, and G11 got called. Here's the thing about G11. The way you say G in German is gay, and the way you say 11 is elf. So she said gay elf, and nobody noticed. And it was just me looking around. I was like, I get guys, and then nothing.
Late 90s gay elf has to get a laugh.
Come on, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. My French teacher, Madame Mole, she was charmed by it. She laughed, and she was like, I think you'll squeak through.
Look at
D-,
you.
ladies and gentlemen.
Charmed your way
yes,
through French
I
class.
did. So,
what a Delilah move.
Yes. A very Delilah move.
Well, in a world of Google Translation, like if we took what do these kids do if you're taking French? You're not learning because you know you're doing Google Translation.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, it's much easier to cheat now. I am doing Duolingo on my phone. I'm just trying to learn French again for no reason. I'm in a midlife crisis. Obviously, we're all in a midlife crisis. That's why we're doing the show together and why this show spoke to us to begin with. Oui. So the dad's not French. Yeah, I also wrote that down. And Papa is he's suffering some memory loss. He refers to Charlie as Danny, right? I think early on.
Yeah, Danny, who, by the way, has been on Charlie duty all afternoon, is the excuse this time.
Yeah.
So how old is he again?
Danny?
12, 13? I forget.
Yeah. Let's say 12, 13. Let's say 13.
I guess that's old enough to babysit, but that's a fresh baby, man.
It's a pretty fresh baby, yeah. Yeah, so the dad... So, yeah, is there anything before the dad gets loose at the home?
No. Basically, I just wrote down, Sophie takes off after opening the fridge and seeing what was in there. I paused it and rewound. I thought, I didn't understand at first, and I'm like, that's like pizza sauce and like
severed head.
Yeah, and I didn't expect that. I didn't know where she was going though, so it was good writing, I gotta say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I knew she was up to something. I didn't know what. Jamie knew.
I got it.
Yeah,
this week I'm on it.
Yep. Twitter.
I was. He was like, "Where's she going?" I was like, "He's gonna go get pizza ingredients to make pizza because it's Pizza Friday."
Yeah.
And I was right.
Suck it, Twitterverse. We got this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's dumb now?
Who's dumb now?
Still me, but less.
Yes. So Sophie, I wrote down, as soon as that happened, I wrote down Sophie solves it, but I didn't know what it meant. It's a pizza situation. She goes and finds him at pizza. she finds him at the pizza ingredient store, a.k.a. a grocery store, right?
It's a good thing he remembered, I'm guessing, the place where they always get their pizza ingredients.
Yeah.
Because, he could have just wandered. He could have been intending to go to that place and just ended up friggin' anywhere. But she gets it in one.
Yeah.
He's right there.
Alzheimer's brain makes sense to me, because I know I don't know what Alzheimer's is, but I can't imagine I won't have it, kind of, which Jamie certainly understands.
Well, I mean, I walk into a room and don't remember what I was going to do, a lot. Or I'll look at my phone and be like, what was I gonna do? And then I just have to keep
on the phone. Yeah.
And then I just have to keep going about my day. And then I'm just oh, is it cold outside? Weather app. That's what I was looking at earlier. Here we go.
Yeah, it's easy. Getting lost makes a lot of sense to me.
Brain's full of holes.
Yep. So she goes in. Yeah, Sophie tracks down the dad, and She's driving him back, and man, Dad is really committing to the bit about not knowing who Sophie is.
Oh my gosh, I guess the lead up to this is that Sophie and Delilah are still not cool with each other. Sophie is making out in the Lamb Shank closet with Jake from Lamb Shanks.
Jake from Lamb Shanks? Jamie's liking that for some...
Jake from State Farm.
Yeah, I get it. It's the happiest I've seen Jamie in weeks.
I wrote that down, and I was like, I like that. It's not good, but I like it. Which I thought was going to be a bigger deal, but then that was really nothing.
Yeah.
And then Sophie comes around when she finds out Papa is missing. And then very conveniently, while she's driving Papa home, he thinks she's Delilah and just goes ahead and lays out the entire scenario about why the marriage wasn't great at the end, kind of shits on her dad a little bit, and paints Delilah as a martyr, and Sophie just has to sit there and be like, okay.
Yeah.
And then it solves it, I guess.
Yeah, it's weird. So basically the dad, thinking that she is her mom, thinking that Sophie's her mom, talking to her about it, it sort of gives Sophie insight that she wouldn't otherwise have, because Delilah rightfully is not shitting on the now passed away father that she cheated on. That wouldn't be good.
And not going into the details of your dad and I stopped having sex after a while, and it's like, that's not, you don't need to hear that now.
Yeah. Yeah. So that, and it seems like Sophie takes that and is cool about it, and ends up basically being nicer to Mom, and then ends up spending the night back at Mom's place after
and
that.
telling the nice story to the baby. Which I guess Danny was tired from babysitting because we don't see him at the end.
Oh, man.
You guys.
We got to actually interview Chance Hurstfield, who plays Danny, on this show. I think we can. Like, he's tweeted at us back.
Yeah,
we
just
should
let me
do
get
that.
my brain right, and then we can do it.
we gotta get our brains right, and then it's Danny time. Maybe
I
at
can't
the end
fight.
of
If
the
I
season.
fuck up a Danny episode, I'll John myself.
God damn it! Yeah, I'll go straight Dixon. I'll put on the Killers. And, yeah. So, I guess we might as well just rewind to the beginning of Sophie's. The beginning of what Sophie did in this episode, which was, as we said, making out in the
With
kitchen
Jake from Lamb Shanks.
with Jake from Lamb Shanks. Dave, thoughts on that? Your take?
Well, I mean, working in the service industry here and there,
Yeah.
you become close quarters, tight quarters, Yeah, so things happen.
Have you made out on a lamb shank?
I've made out in kitchens. I've made out in bar kitchens.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
So, okay, that's great. So, you've made out, when you made out in a bar kitchen, were you a bartender?
I was a security guy, sort of. Like
Okay.
bar.
Security guy, and you were making out with...
guy locking it down.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, get secure right here. Come to a safe place. That safe place, it's Dave Miller, at Miller_Dave on Twitter, I believe, right?
Yeah.
The one verified member of our podcast team. And the makeout, the person you were making out with, was she employee or customer?
Oh, no, definitely. Oh, the customer thing. Oh, God almighty. There's been way too many of those.
Customers every day.
Yeah, no, the customer is way too much. But, like, the incestuous nature of service industry, yeah, that happens all the time.
Sure. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Great. Yeah, so I like that. So it is funny that Sophie's just like dropping by the restaurant to make out because she does not work there.
No.
She does work there,
did she?
but the bottom line is she was not working that morning.
Well, I think she did. Yeah, I mean, I think she
So
is
after the
technically. Yeah, she's like technically working there for like the
Okay.
summer or something. But I mean,
All right, drag me, Twitter. I got it wrong
yeah,
again.
but she doesn't really work. She doesn't do anything. They'll
Right.
be like, "Can you, put that basket over there?" And then she'll be like, "Maybe."
Yeah, she's a bad employee.
Yeah.
Because Delilah wants her to pay for those guitars. That's the only reason why she's
Yes.
Yes, now that sounds familiar. I said this last week, too, where I watch this show, I enjoy it, I look forward to seeing it, and every week it's like I've never seen anything that ever happened. I'm a real papa brain about it.
Papa Brain. I think there really is something too, though, to like trying to remember details and taking notes, and it does make you miss some of the just overall stuff.
Yeah.
The big picture. You're very focused on the details, like minute to minute.
Yeah. Sophie,
Is my excuse.
Yes. Sophie, also the only other thing I had is that she was studying for the PSATs, which I think I did that. That's sophomore? That's a sophomore year thing? PSATs?
Sounds right. I feel like
Actual SATs are junior year, right?
Also,
I don't know. Maybe.
was junior, I thought, Kevin, but like my nieces and nephews are doing it sophomore, I think.
Oh, wait, they're doing full SAT on sophomore?
PSAT.
PSAT.
Oh, yeah.
I thought, in my head, I
we
thought.
did that junior. Who knows, though?
In my head, I thought PSAT was junior, which maybe it was in Indiana.
I don't know. I really don't remember. I fucking slayed it, whatever it was. I just went in, I was hungover and fucking slaughtered all the tests.
That's right.
Yeah.
Who's got holes in their brains now?
I have many holes in my brain, but I'm not trying to be self-deprecating. My memory is garbage, of course. I have good long-term
I was
memory.
going to say short term, but not long term.
Short-term memory, absolutely nothing. Jamie has said, I think it's the best way anyone has described how my brain works in a memory way, where Jamie has said if she murdered someone and needed to hide the murder weapon, she would just give it to me to keep. And then it would disappear and no one would ever be able to find it because I just lose things like crazy.
Yeah, you'd be like, Jamie, I'm so sorry. I had the knife, and now I don't know where the knife is. And I'd be like, perfect.
Perfect. It's fine. It's untraceable because you tried to keep it, and it didn't work. So my brain messes up like that. But it has a lot of horsepower. I'm not just being self-deprecating.
Yeah, he's smart.
Yeah. I'm a smart idiot.
Yeah, that's our brand.
Yeah, hell yeah. All right, so I think that's basically all we got on Sophie, right? Or anyone else jump in? Jamie, you ever make out in a bar kitchen?
Oof, no, definitely not. I only had one restaurant job, and that was with you.
Yeah, I guess so. You made out with one of the employees.
Yes, I made out with one of the employees elsewhere. It was too gross to make out there.
No, we probably never even touched.
No,
there.
it's not a sexy place.
Yeah. And then I left that catering job because I got hired at the Olive Garden. Not to brag, but I did.
Which is sexy.
Yes.
I'd make out in an Olive Garden.
Thanks. All right. Dave, where you want to swerve to next?
Well, I was thinking, Gary, just because I wanted to pose the question to you guys.
Great.
I don't know. I wasn't able to listen to your podcast from last week, but when Maggie asked Gary to get tacos, how hard it was for Gary to say no, what would you have done? I mean, for me, I ain't saying no to tacos and a girl. I want to start with Gary to get your thoughts.
Oh, that's great. That's just a great Dave Miller brand. I'm not saying no to tacos and a girl. What a great motto. So you remind me, she asked him to tacos, at the end of the episode, right? After he was making amends and sort of on the comeback trail? Mm-hmm. I mean, I think in his situation, the healthy thing is to take time, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm not a big, healthy guy, so I feel like I would probably jump right back in.
Yeah, I can't imagine me saying no in that situation. I mean, yeah, maybe.
It's a person you still love.
Because they have been apart for a while.
It's been 3 months, right?
He just figured shit out, so it's fresh that he's, not an asshole anymore for the moment. Mm-hmm. So that part is very fresh. But it's been months that they've been apart.
Yeah,
and he's
3 months.
had time to, realize that actually he does like her and love her and want to be with her. So it's it wouldn't be crazy if he got tacos.
Wouldn't be crazy if he got tacos.
Yep. Yeah, it wouldn't be crazy if we got tacos.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I tend to... I think I'm a little bit impulsive, and I think I would... If I was just into it, I'd just go.
Also, it's just tacos.
It's just tacos. Isn't there a dating service called It's Just Lunch?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, that's right.
Or just
right.
coffee or something.
Yeah, that's right. It's just lunch. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not on it. I'm married, but,
Very convincing.
Thank you. I really sold it. Tweet at us if you've dated me on It's
I'm
Got
not
Lunch.
on Bumble.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, Jamie. So I guess that's so. We're all in agreement. We would all not do the healthy thing and take.
Also,
more
the very
separation.
next episode, they end up essentially going on a date to a cancer party, which is
Yes.
more intense than tacos.
Definitely.
So he says no, but then they still go out basically.
The way the episode begins, Gary's still on the comeback trail. It's he's jogging with the dog.
Colin gets in the episode.
Colin gets in the episode. Danny, no, sorry, Jamie.
Mm-hmm, but I do like the dog.
It's a good dog, and it's a good dog. I've said this before. Stop foleying dog whimper sound effects to make the dog sound like it's talking or something. They do this all the time, where someone and this isn't just this show. This is everywhere, where they do. If anyone references the dog, they cut to the dog, and then they Foley, that's inside TV terminology. But Foleying is basically, it's like putting a sound effect, adding sound to a situation where it wasn't there naturally.
The dog has to come back to the studio, do ADR,
go in a voice booth,
additional dialogue recording, and
go, and then they just, shut up. Dogs just stand there sometimes. That's fine.
He would be panting. Also, that's funnier. It's funnier to look at the dog and have him
tired.
pant smile at you.
Totally.
That's cuter and better.
100%.
Do that.
So Gary he's jogging, and that's, I think, just another bit of symbolism where he's on the comeback trail. He's on, he's getting back to healthy. And Dave, you told me, speaking of health, you set a recent personal record. You've been in the gym. You've been working out lately.
Oh yeah, it's sad, but my personal record of working out is 5 days in a row. I did hit that before the weekend.
Hell yeah! What's
Nice.
your workout reg right now?
It's just push-ups, crunches, and squats.
Those are, I mean,
The big three, I think.
Absolutely. That's most of what my workout is, and I'm friggin' jacked now.
It's true.
Yeah.
Oh, man. 2/3 of this podcast is about to be ripped.
We're all jacked. This is a real body podcast now. Everyone's got sick bods. All right. So Gary's trying to get that sick bod running with his dog. I love dogs, and I grew up with dogs. I don't know how. I would feel weird about running with the dog because I don't want to make the dog too tired. I don't know how long dogs are allowed to run.
Well, in my case, I don't think I would wear out a dog. I think the dog would be like, maybe we should, sprint for a little bit. And I'd be like, why don't you shut up? Let's take it easy.
Shut up, Colin. Yeah. So, whatever. So they meet up. Maggie bumps into him there. And then they sort of say the same thing about several times. They're finishing each other's sandwiches. You get it?
They sure are. They bond over hating bird scooters, which is good.
And then they talk about the remission party, where they're going to someone I assume from their support group is having a party for being in remission for 5 years.
5 years, yes.
And I'm assuming no one here has been to a remission party.
No.
I mean, yeah, we have like good friends who are cancer survivors, but I didn't know this was a thing. It makes sense that it is, but sort of. And feel free to cut me off if I'm skipping things that you guys have stuff to say about. But when they get to the remission party, it ultimately ends up going in a direction that sort of I was thinking too, where. It seems like a weird party because if I had cancer, and I haven't, I had a thing taken out of my face once that needed to be tested for cancer, and they weren't sure. And I had a
they
thing
were
taken
sure
out
afterwards. They weren't sure at the time.
Yes, right. And I
good.
had a thing taken out of my shoulder once too. Same thing, where it was like this is sort of abnormal, but it's fine. So I've never had cancer, but if I did and was in remission, I would feel weird celebrating it because I would also never feel like it's to me. It's
the whole party is a jinx, and you're gonna get cancer.
Yeah, that's kind of that's sort of
how my brain works.
Right, that's how my brain works too, and that's probably and as Maggie points out that it's like not healthy. Really, it's like you can't let it dominate your life like that. But the reason for the party struck me as weird in that the party struck me as weird in that way. But they reflected that in the episode because the person whose party it was felt that too.
Freaks out. Yes, Elena is putting on a good front, and then she flips out when she can't break the piñata. Which I wrote this down before Gary said it, but. Is it even a piñata if it's not full of candy? The fuck are we doing here? I thought this was a party.
Oh, yeah, we got some Lemonheads references. I think he said Dum-Dums, too.
Yeah. Yeah, a Kit Kat maybe? Something like that?
What's your guys' number one candy you're putting in a piñata? Dave?
Fun-size Skittles.
Fun-size Skittles, great.
That's very good, because that's so colorful.
Yeah, that's the color element is important there, too. Jamie, what's yours?
I mean, I usually go a fun-size Snickers is my fave.
The thing I say about candy, they're all fun-size. Ladies and gentlemen, happy Valentine's Day. Happy Galentine's Day.
Yay, happy Palentine's Day.
Yeah, this is a Palentine's Day. This is some pals here. Some pals and some pals. And a gal. So, do you guys ever do piñata shit? You fuck with piñatas?
Y'all fuck with piñatas? I definitely have. I don't think it was my own party ever.
Yeah, nieces and nephews.
Nieces and nephews, that makes sense, yeah.
It's like grade school, like birthday parties. Like other people would have them. I feel like it's something where it's like the idea of having to walk in front of everyone at my own party and like with a blindfold and have to like do something would have been just horrifying to me.
I think, yes. And I think if it's someone else's party, I think it's bullshit to surprise them with a task.
Yeah.
That they have to succeed at.
And lots of people would probably enjoy it.
Sure.
But my, you're going to get cancer at your cancer party brain is just like, this will go terribly. I'm going to look like an idiot and I'll run away.
We're all nice people with negative garbage brains, I think.
Yeah.
Just like just assume like terrible, like the worst going into everything.
It's like Final Destination in my brain all the time.
Well, yeah. I thought the lady was gonna. This is how sick I am. I thought the lady, when she was swinging a bat, was gonna like feel a lump on her breast or something, which is just not even realistic at all.
No, but I totally know what you mean, because you could tell before she got mad. You could just tell it was the kind of over-the-top happy where you know something bad's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought this is more offensive than what Dave said, but I thought it was going to be a heart attack situation. And whatever, you can read into that whatever you want, but like I thought it just felt like something bad was going to happen.
I thought a singing telegram would show up from the hospital and sing and tell her that she has cancer again.
God, I am a singing telegram. It came up positive. What rhymes with malignant? Yeah. Tough crowd. I wrote "whoa pinata." I wrote the word "whoa" all in caps.
Pinata.
Because that was a real like brutal. This is brutal. Like watching her get sad about it in front of everybody.
Yeah, it was really actually rough.
Fucking sucked. I mean, it's effective storytelling, I guess, because it's just such a friggin' bummer. Mm-hmm. But very, I mean, not quite to the level, but a scene I thought of was the scene in Swingers, which your boy Dave knows. Of course, Dave and I both huge Swingers fans, because we're boys who were in high school in the boys from the 90s. But the Jon Favreau calling the answering machine a million times in that movie reminded me a little bit. That's what this scene reminded me a little bit, where it's just like very cringe and it won't end.
Yes,
you know,
the vibe is the same. It's still going, and then and then Gary and Maggie step forward and make her feel better and fix everything, because they're, as a team, the best friends that you could have, because she can actually fix your brain with her therapy skills, and then Gary's just the best friend that exists.
Yes.
And they go for it. Although, you know what? A little bit, she sort of kind of deserved to cry at her party, because when they first show up, and they're all, and you know, Gary's worried, like, everyone's going to want to know why we're not together. And then she's just like, oh, I always knew that Gary can't commit. And it's like, Gary is one of the most committed people that you have ever met.
Back the fuck up.
And then Maggie's like, actually, it was me. I couldn't commit. And she's like, Gary, what did you do to make Maggie not be able to commit? And it's like, man, I want to punch this cancer lady real hard.
Good call. Good call.
I'm like, she sucks. She doesn't know Gary, at least not new Gary.
No. Yeah, and
then he helped her.
I know. Yeah, that's a good thing to highlight. It's like,
I figured that would make you. That's like your least favorite thing.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, mine too, but
yes, no,
that's the equivalent. That's the equivalent of like when Kevin at a show runs into like a fan, and the fan tries to like tell jokes to Kevin, like personally.
Which Dave has seen, yeah. Yes. One time, actually, in Chicago, I forget if Dave was at the show or not, but there was a French woman, shout out Delilah, who was a real problem all show. And then I dealt with her, and then on stage, and then I went to a bar across the street from Zany's in Chicago afterwards, and then she came up and like apologized and cried. Anyway, fun times. Come see me. Check out my schedule, Kevin-McCaffrey / schedule. You can come see. What towns am I coming to soon? I'm coming to Champaign, Illinois. I'm doing Seattle. I'm going to be out in Seattle. I'm going to be doing Tulsa, doing Wichita. What? Yeah, anyway. But yes, that's a good reference. And yeah, as Jamie said, that's something I hate. That's like, I'm a person who, like, I'm a feminist, but this is...
It's a good way to start a sentence.
It is a great way to start a sentence. I am a feminist, but I think...
But these bitches.
But these bitches be wildin'. But I do know most straight men who say they're a feminist then end up being, like, horrible people.
Oh, yeah.
But this is, like, bad feminist shit. It's like I feel like it's representative of like bad feminism, where this woman's just like, the boy, what's your problem, boy? It's the boy's fault for sure. Which sounds like she's being pro the lady in the situation, but it's also infantilizing the lady. It's like,
it's people. It's like, yes, when like groups of ladies who get together who think they're being feminist but are actually like the opposite. Because feminism is supposed to mean that we're all equal.
Yes!
But they start to think that it's women are only good and men are only stupid. And
Yes,
it's like,
that's
guys,
not it.
that's not helping.
No, it's bad and
That's just the bad thing, but to the other half.
Yes, it's flipping the bad, which is not super helpful.
Right.
So yeah, that lady was a little bit that way. I'm glad she didn't have a heart attack or
she
a breast
ended up
lump.
crying,
Or
just like your French lady. So it all
that's
worked
true.
out.
She cried, cry like one of your French girls. Make me cry like your French girls. Yes. So and then I think so. Gary Maggie wise. They go up in the elevator, and whenever I see a boy and a girl in an elevator, and it's just them, and I'm like, well, they're going to do stuff.
Yeah.
They're gonna
when
make
they
out.
went up to the party, you're like, kiss.
Good me impression. Kiss. Yes. And then afterwards, Gary has the dream sequence.
Yeah, I know. I started writing furiously, and then it was a fantasy, and I was like, God, all right. You got me.
Right. He has the dream sequence where he admits that he's still in love with Maggie, and she admits that back. And
he says everything happens for a reason, and he thinks he got cancer so he could meet her, which is like, whoa.
Whoa indeed. That's
Some
another
Nicholas,
all caps whoa.
all caps whoa.
The DJ
Nicholas
Nash
Sparks.
special right there.
Yeah,
The
it
DJ
is.
Nash. Yes. Hashtag DJ Nash. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and then we see that it's a dream sequence, and then she says on the way out that, you know, we can be friends. And he says, you know what? Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. And Maggie earlier in the episode is talking about, you know, I think she's talking to her other friends about like her worries about how the conflict she's having in her own mind about how to be with Gary. What's fair to ask of Gary? What's, you know.
Right. And it's hard to tell at this point if she's like really does want to be back with him and is just sort of like, but doesn't think that's an option. But yeah, at the very beginning, it was like, I mean, yeah, of course you want to be friends with Gary. He's a really good friend.
Yes.
He's like, he'll come to you whenever you need him. It's like, it is a little selfish to be like, do you think I can just be like, will you be my friend? So I can like text you when I'm sad and then not, you know, do any of the other stuff.
Don't be me, Gary.
Dave Miller is, I assume, you are identifying with this specific Gary, correct?
Yeah, a decade ago, but yes.
You a decade ago?
Yeah.
See, do you feel like you have transitioned out of that Gary?
Oh, heck yeah.
Okay, good. So you are no longer willing to be kept on as just emotional support system Dave Miller.
No, just can't happen.
Yeah. No, good.
That's no tacos for Dave. There you go.
No tacos. Yeah.
No friend tacos.
No, Dave will not meet you. Dave will meet you for friend tacos if you are just friends.
Well, yeah.
Dave and I.
We can get friend tacos.
Dave and I will have tacos pretty soon, probably.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Good news.
But yes, yeah, not this weird like half keep you on the line shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that ain't it.
Mm-hmm. But I do think it's it's an interesting thing to be like what Maggie's thinking there is, I think it is reasonable for her to be confused too, and to be like, what can I be with this person that I once was in love with and part of a couple with, and I still love them, but it might not be this specific kind of love.
Right. We get along. We finish each other's sandwiches.
Yep. Yeah.
It's weird if we don't ever hang out again. So now what?
Yeah.
Good question, you guys.
Good question. So then where they land at the end of the episode is that Maggie basically says, "Let's be friends," and Gary says, "Fine." Yeah. Any other Maggie Gary thoughts, Dave?
No, well, I will say this. I was reading something last week that apparently is not the last we saw of Marcia Gay Harden. So
okay.
I wonder how it looks like Gary's doing well, and hopefully he continues to do well. I wonder if that wasn't a one-time episode thing, how she fits in the equation. that's something we could keep in the back of our minds.
Good call. And I like bringing that information. Dave, I think, is really, on this podcast, he's the one that brings the, reading the trades. What, the rumors in Variety or Hollywood Reporter.
That's right. He's the e-news section of our broadcast.
Hell yeah. We got to go to Chicago to get that news. Cool. So, all right. So now we've got either the Eddie, Catherine, Theo or the Gina, Rome.
Let's do Gina Rome because I thought it said Derek Jeter on that girl's phone. It was Derek Jones.
Derek Jeter would make sense. Derek Jeter is not abusive, but has Derek Jeter gotten people pregnant and then not raised that
Hell
baby?
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to imagine he wouldn't.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, which that probably comes dangerously close to what, libel or slander?
Libel, yeah.
Yeah, but I guess we
Derek, if you're listening, call in. We can
Derek
set
Jeter.
the record straight.
We'll do one episode with Danny, with Chance Hurstfield, and then one
Next
with Derek Jeter. That's fine.
Makes a lot of sense.
It would be great if I got Derek Jeter as a guest on this, but not on the baseball podcast I host with Adam Amamuela, Away Games Pod. Follow us at Away Games Pod. Yeah. But
he's retired. All he wants to do is talk about his stories now.
Yes. On another podcast I host, Sex and the City, it's with John Daly. We've been talking lately, because we're in the 4th season where, spoiler, Charlotte has some fertility issues. And we were talking about how, people who want babies should just be able to have babies. And if you don't want babies, you should be able to, press a button on your own fucking body and not make a baby.
That should be what the belly button's for.
That should be what... Goddamn, Jamie, that's my favorite thing you've ever said on this show. That should be what the belly button's for. You should be able to press your belly button in or out depending on whether you should be baby able at that time. Hell yeah. Let's give the belly button a purpose.
Science, are you listening?
Yeah.
You can have that idea.
Science.
We just want 10% of all the belly button surgeries.
Sure. Anything. I just want justice.
Yeah.
So Gina and Rome, basically, they're doing the adoption thing. It's a wild process, and it's an interesting thing that there's a lot to explore here. So I think it's a cool thing they're doing, and it's cool. It comes up once they meet the young woman who is having the baby that they are basically interviewing for. Her name's Eve. It's a little
slightly na 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 na.
Dave and Jamie go off.
Love it.
Yep. A little on the nose.
Yes, a little on the nose. But it's an interesting thing to see this process play out, and I also think it's an interesting choice that they do cover in this episode at some point where Gina says to Eve, "No, we never tried to get pregnant. It's not that I can't get pregnant. We have decided that we're adopting." Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. I mean,
this is our first choice.
Yep. That's cool. They're doing the documentary about themselves. Rome is...
He wants a montage for the baby.
I wrote down, we're gonna get an emotional montage once they finally get the baby. We're gonna see this whole Rome movie. My God.
It'll be the thing that brings the gang together.
It probably will be. So we're gonna see that for sure. I also wrote down, and everyone feel free to cut me off again at any moment here, because I'm just going through it. I wrote, adopt mom. Best person? I thought the actress was good and naturally charismatic.
I thought I was like, I definitely know her, and then I looked up her IMDb, and it's like, I don't know her. So good for her.
Fucking good for her. Good for landing the role on a network thing then. But I thought she was fucking cool. She just seemed like a good person, seemed natural and normal and charming, great smile. Bought her as...
Great smiles all around at that table.
Yes.
As they talked about when they walked in.
Gina was talking shit about Rome's teeth, and Eve told her, back the fuck up, your boy got good teeth, let him do it. Yeah.
Works at a diner. I love diner workers. They're accessible. They're socially accessible,
Dave and I, every time I'm in Chicago, we end up at one diner per run. When I have a Chicago run, you and I will end up... What is the diner we most frequently end up at?
Okay, so when, like, we're older now, so it's Tempo Cafe, but, like, when we were a little bit younger, it used to be this place called Green Acres, but that closed. But, like, by me, the place is called Tempo Cafe.
Okay, this is where, if you want to see
man.
Dave and Kevin's in the wild in
You're gonna
Chicago.
get stalked.
Yeah. This is where we go when we're fucking lit up at 4 a.m. And then Dave just keeps going, "Are you good?" Yeah. Yeah, but yes, this Eve, I thought she seemed lovely.
I know, for a minute I was like, she's too good. She's too smooth. It's like, have you sold babies before?
Have you sold your own babies before?
Like,
yeah.
she's really good at this.
Right. Also, in terms of her being too good, I do think, so we saw, and I think we've set the precedent on this show that we will reference the teasers they do for the next week.
Oh, yeah. People have seen him.
Yeah. She gets Derek Jones. Derek Jones is the baby daddy, and she mutes that. And just her vibe around that, I thought, ooh, maybe she's lying to Rome and Gina about what Derek Jones's deal is. I don't know that for sure. I'm not even saying I think that's likely. I'm just saying it entered my head.
Right. In my head, it was more like, I guess, yeah, I just read it as, like, scared. Or as sort of like...
This is a thriller now.
Or, right. Or, like, knowing that it's like, he's calling me, he's not going to stop calling me. He'll probably find me at some point. She's probably just, like, trying to unload this baby before he does.
Right. It is... I know this kind of person exists, but it is a truly sociopathic profile of someone who... creates a baby with someone that they are no longer with, but then is obsessed, as a man, obsessed with that baby as a possession.
Right.
Which it seems like maybe they're leaning towards that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's half these Amber Alerts are probably that,
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Seems
true.
I
don't have the stats.
No, we don't have the stats. You don't come here for stats, obviously.
Don't believe a word I say.
No one even listens to this show to even 100% get the storylines right. That's not what we do. We're not committing to getting the storylines right. This is a comedian, a sports writer, and a comedy writer hanging out, doing a show that we all decided we were into because the guy killed himself in his 30s, and we're like, I get it.
Okay.
And that is the whole reason we do this podcast, and we are the Best of Million Little Things podcast. I'm sorry, that's true. You guys know it if you're listening.
But we never promised accuracy.
No, we don't even promise being punctual with these episodes. We got lives. Fucking donate.
We get one
to
in
us.
on time. We're exhausted. The next one's going to be late.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Gina Rome. Throw in any other Gina Rome points that I've missed to this point.
No, I just wrote down, this is a Rome thing, that we saw Gary Rome and Eddie hanging out. Cool, no sarcasm, just hang. It was good to see that.
The band of dads was back together finally.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we got a little band of dads moment, and it was nice. And Gary said he can tell you guys to screw off. Because he doesn't want to go to the cancer party. He's like, it's hard to tell a cancer patient to go screw themselves. I can tell you guys to screw off if I want. And I was like, screw off, ABC.
Screw off, yeah. fucking explicit language alert.
I know. What the heck, Gary? Still a little bad Gary hanging out in there.
Yeah, Gary fucks
Gary
up your language stuff.
The censors. Yeah, well, they were... So, yeah, the mom is cagey off the bat about the dad, and so Gina is very like on top of it and calls the agency and is like, is this a thing that happens? And they're like, it does sometimes, but also there's a chance the dad could come back and want that baby. And then Gina's just like, no, this is not happening. We don't need this kind of drama. And then we're not doing it. And Rome is upset. And at some point Gina says this baby was supposed to bring us together, not tear us apart. Is that right?
Yes.
Which is sort of like, well, you should be together already. Don't put it on the baby to bring you together.
No.
I was just like, uh-oh. Like, that's not a good idea.
Yes. I think this is a thing that's just fairly well established in the world, is that you can't have a baby and make your relationship get better. Like, it's not that that's never happened, but you certainly can't count on that, and it's too much fucking pressure to put on a baby to do that.
Yeah, which it's like, I don't know, and I think it's probably fine. I think that was just sort of a weird way to put it for Gina, but it's just like, well, don't do that. Also, Gina's trying on bags at the beginning with Maggie, and then Maggie's
trying on bags?
Yeah, she was putting together an outfit. She was trying on bags, and she's like, "How about this one?" And then Maggie's like, "How about this one?" And then Gina was like, "That one's Rome's," like kind of like a man bag like thing. And then Maggie was like, "He is his own person." Like, judgy Maggie.
Yeah, Maggie. What a weird, like...
Oh, my God. Maggie's
is this
like...
homophobic?
I know.
It's like, yeah, what a weird angle.
Yeah, the therapist is just like, I mean, listen, I help everybody, but if you're a man with a bag, then you gay, and I hate it.
Yeah. I carry a messenger bag every day.
Yeah. Well, this was more... It was a small...
Big messenger bag guy.
Yeah. But it was weird. It was a weird little, like, I don't feel like Maggie would have a... I don't feel like she'd have a problem with the man bag. Immerse, if you will.
One thing the show sometimes does clumsily is intentional comedy, I think.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's best when the comedy is subtle.
Yes.
On this show.
100%.
Weirdly, though, this episode co-written by a guy I shouted out last episode, Tucker Cawley, who is one of the main writer-producers on Everybody Loves Raymond.
Oh, yeah.
And he was credited as a co-writer on this episode.
That's good stuff.
Yep. So I wrote the tough birth dad question, a fair question, and like you were saying that Gina was saying, oh, well, this is a thing that the birth dad can swoop in at the end and fuck it up, and that is a thing to be aware of for sure. I mean, I think this is interesting that it shows how complicated adoption can be.
Oh my God, yeah. And then they go into, and then they eventually, like, you know, the girl wants to talk to him again. They talk to her. She lets him know that he was abusive. That's why she skipped town, et cetera, et cetera. And then they're like, okay, they're going to do this. But also it's just like, yeah, you can't. I feel like I would be with Gina, where it's just like, I don't need to think that possibly we're going to have some, like, abusive dude in our lives forever because we have his baby. Like, I can't, that would stress me out too much.
Yeah, you sort of need it solved legally before you get into it.
Yeah. But also it's just like, I mean, he's a psychopath. He's just going to be out there.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, this is like me with my, with like horror movies where they don't, like, kill the killer right away.
I've always said I want to write a movie where there's the bad guy, and the first chance the good guy gets, he shoots him in the head, and then shoots him in the head 2 more times.
Exactly.
And
otherwise,
he'll hang out for the last.
Otherwise, they'll always keep coming after you, and this is just like, well, we already know that he's abusive and kind of a stalker. It's like, I don't need that.
Yeah.
And you're not allowed to just kill people, so.
Yeah. They haven't fixed the laws yet.
Yeah. Soon, probably, but, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I would be Team Gina. But Rome is scared they won't get another chance. And I think it's like, you guys are very cute. You're going to definitely get another chance.
That's like the most friggin' millennial girl. You guys are so cute. You're definitely going to get to adopt. Yeah. I think, you would definitely be more the Gina. I'd be more the Rome in this situation. I think I'm not trying to adopt a baby. But I'm just saying, vibe-wise, emotion-wise.
Right, if you're all of a sudden you're in this situation, then what?
Yes. Yeah. Dave, any Gina Rome thoughts we didn't hit so far before we close them up?
Mm-hmm. No, I think we are good. Yeah, I just wrote down absentee father, potential problem down the line.
Oh, yeah. It's happening next episode.
It was last night I did a show. I do a monthly show in New York City. That's my favorite show with my best friends in comedy, and the best comics in New York do this show. Mm-hmm. And we have a different topic every month. So last night...
Serious Matters. Check it out if you're in
Serious
town.
Matters. If you're in New York City, St. Patrick's Day, we're doing one.
Yeah.
And then I think April 19th. But we do one a month. just holler at me. I'm at Kevin McCaff on Twitter and Instagram. You can come on by. But just speaking of absentee fathers and stuff, it was great because the topic of the show was nostalgia, and I always do like 10 minutes of new stand-up based on whatever the topic was at the beginning of the show because I host it. And my mom flew into town from Chicago for this show because she loves it. And my dad said he was going to be there, and then at the end of like somewhere in my stand-up, I was at the beginning, I was like, "Is my dad here?" And he was not. And I was like, "Man, nostalgia-wise, this is perfect. Like this is exactly what growing up was." Yeah. Dad? No? Now I'm comfortable. Yeah.
Here we go.
And then he did show up.
Yeah, he
did show up, and he's
eventually.
also my dad's a great audience member, so it's
and he has come to a lot of these.
He absolutely.
But
has.
he really nailed it for the nostalgia one.
It was perfect. He was really gave me an assist for that. He threw the alley oop, and I dunked it home. All right, so we're done with Gina Rome.
Yeah.
Now Eddie, Catherine, Theo.
Whoop,
that
whoop.
situation.
Theo got problems.
Theo got problems.
Man,
Theo
do
also...
I love new badass Theo.
Theo's good.
Theo is relatable.
Theo is
Theo
relatable.
is a mood
Theo,
for me.
Theo is big mood 2020.
Mm-hmm. He is. He's back on my bullshit this episode.
Theo's fucking good. Theo, the actor who plays Theo, is good.
Oh my god, he's great.
We haven't always been this pro Theo.
No. There's layers. They say that he has an appointment with Susan this morning, and he says, "Oh yeah, I'm not going to that," and then goes about eating the big chocolate chip waffles they made him, which it's like, this kid is gonna... He comes downstairs, he's like, "Wow, waffles," and then they, break bad news to him. It's like they keep doing this. He's going to have a complex. He's going to also have to go to therapy for like every time something great happens, something terrible happens right afterwards.
Yeah, life is a balance. Life is a zero-sum game. Yeah,
my parents have conditioned me like a rat in a cage. It's like press the button for food and you get shocked afterwards. He says, and they're trying to convince him to go to therapy. He says he's not going through anything. And he says, "I got my consequence and I don't need to talk about it anymore." Like, hell yeah, Theo.
Jamie just put her hands up in the air like she was celebrating her own 21st or 40th birthday, whatever you want
Absolutely
it to be.
40th.
Yeah.
The roof has been raised.
Yeah.
If I was holding a big glass of Pinot Grigio, it would have been perfect. But yeah, so they go, and then Catherine says, "Well, I'm going to go to the therapist to talk about my problems. Would you go with me to help out?" And Theo says yes, because he puts everyone else's needs before his. Mm-hmm. And then like Catherine and Eddie, I feel like they look at each other like proud of their parenting for like too long. Mm-hmm. They're just like giving faces across the table like, "We fucking did it. Best parents of the year." And it's like, Theo can see this, right? Like, this is the whole thing. He sees everything.
He sees everything. Yeah, he's a human being. And I did write that Eddie and Catherine have this vibe where I think this is more Eddie than Catherine, actor-wise, I'll say. But where he says, "You know what they say?" Eddie says this. "You know what they say? Breakfast is the most important dessert of the day." And then Catherine goes, "That's right." And I was like, "Are you? This couple's just like in a commercial all the time.
They're always acting for Theo.
Whenever they're happy, it's a commercial."
Yeah.
It is, and that is. I shouldn't say that's just on David Giantoli. It's not, because we very much like the. I think her name's Grace Park, who plays Catherine. But I mean, the Catherine delivery, I guess, is what made me be like, "Is this a fucking Tide commercial?" Like I just at the beginning was, "That's right."
And I think she does do that. Like, it's a choice where they're definitely trying to be like, "We are happy." Theo, hey, Theo, we are happy.
Yes, that's true. I think Grace Park is fantastic, actually. And I do think where this was building with the therapist being involved in her and Catherine saying, "I'll go along with you," I was like, well, Catherine's going to realize that she is the one that needs therapy, because she is the one who has been too good about this whole situation. She's been too okay with being cheated on and then getting back with her husband and
taking care of that baby.
Taking care of your husband's baby with someone else.
And I thought it was a very good lead up and a very, like, a sort of subtle reveal of her, you know, doing fake therapy and then accidentally doing real therapy.
Yeah.
And then, you know, says like when, you know, she got screwed over at her work and then, you know, says she didn't want to add to the stress by complaining. And then Theo's, who seems like he hasn't been paying attention, is like, I get that. He's like, oh no, what have I done?
Yeah. Dave, Catherine, Eddie, Theo, thoughts up to this point?
I just, you know, I put down Catherine and Eddie believe they taught Theo to keep things in, so I thought the food fight at the end was, you know, good. Obviously, it lets Theo let go. I also put food fight equals this show's nuts.
Yeah, that was, I mean, I thought that was good. When they said the thing, like, after the therapy, Catherine basically says, like, you know, he tries to stay in control because he doesn't like being out of control. So we should find a moment when he's out of control and just go with it. And I was just like, the thing she's saying, I'm like, I don't even know what that means. If a therapist told me that, I'd be like, you need to give me a really specific example because I don't understand what's happening right now. No, me neither. And so, yeah, so of course they're at the table and Theo spills his milk and he is, like, getting extremely upset about it. And then Catherine is like, here, let me help you, while Eddie's cleaning up, and she throws food at him, and then they have a food fight, and Theo realizes it's not the end of the world. Yeah. And it was lovely and fun. Mm-hmm. I also feel like the whole time Catherine inside was probably just like, this is going to suck to clean up.
It did
this
feel
better fix Theo.
It did feel like Catherine's going to clean this, right?
Yeah.
Eddie all should. Cleaned. Eddie's the one. Eddie has the least job.
Yeah.
You know, Eddie should be doing the bulk of the cleaning around the house.
They all clean up at the end. Okay. At the end, they're all cleaning
Eddie
stuff
up.
What's that?
Eddie doesn't work.
Eddie does not work. We know Eddie doesn't tour. I'm very strong on saying that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it was good. It was a very good move, and it is helpful. It lets you, you know, you can be messy. There can be chaos. There's room for that. Yeah. This is probably a lesson I also need to learn, but also I don't want to learn it enough to throw food that I have to clean up again.
No, we don't have to throw food at each other.
No, not.
Yeah, we don't have to do that. I do think, as what you said, Jamie, about being like this, I'm going to need more specific directions from this therapist. I started going to therapy, and I've been like 4 or 5, maybe like 5 times now. And that is a thing that I did not think was going to be a part of it, where very frequently I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to say here. Like, I don't know what you're asking. Like, just the direct being like, I'm trying to participate, but I don't know how to do it right.
Oh, yeah. I also started going to therapy recently.
We're in a real good place.
We're doing so good, man. 2020, it's going to be baller. Yeah. But yeah, there's a cut where it feels like a question you didn't study for, where it's like some kind of thing where, like, I don't know, maybe if you go to therapy a lot already, you like know what this question means, but I'll just be like, and then she'll have to rephrase.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't.
And I'm like, oh, yes, okay, I got you. Right. But I was sad.
Yeah, this sounds like something that I would be very confused by too. Like, as you say, where they're like, you know, the kid just needs to be, he needs to not be in control and see it's okay, and it's like, I mean, this sounds like you know what you're getting at, but right. I don't know. I don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, no, I would have absolutely been like, please, an example, please. Yeah. Like, paint me a scene of what that might look like. Yeah. And then they did in the episode. I was like, oh, okay.
I guess this is it. Yeah, and it's still kind of unclear for me.
Like, and then, things got messy, and instead of cleaning it up, you just let it be messy.
But then I'm in it, like,
and then you eventually clean it.
My brain also goes to like, it's kind of okay to keep shit clean, you know. So anyway, I did think Theo really nailed. It was deep when he said, you know, talking about, I just want you to know you deserve to be happy, and he said, I don't know.
Oh yeah, I wrote that down. He doesn't know if he deserves to be happy.
He doesn't know if he deserves to be happy. Relatable.
Relatable. That's what I wrote down, too. Theo is relatable. Look at
Is
this.
Theo my guy now?
Is Theo my guy? 100%. Also, I thought it was almost like, I don't know. I think you could put different music behind it, and this could be in the trailer for like a horror movie where it's just when they're about to eat the dinner that they eventually throw everywhere, and Theo's just like, "This is really good, Mom," and it's like, you don't even know because Theo's a faker. He's faking it all the time.
Yeah.
Does he even like mac and cheese? He might not. He might just be saying he does to make you happy.
Yep, hard to say.
And Catherine also, along those lines, when she's in her fake but real therapy, says, I only fight for my own happiness when it aligns with everyone else's. And then Theo's like, complain about the problem, you make it more of a problem. Like, yeah, this is my jam.
Yeah.
Never be the problem.
Mm-hmm. And then when no one's the problem all the time, then you end up with unfixable problems permanently. Good night, everybody. Yeah.
You know what? Hard to fix,
Sure.
not unfixable.
Well, that's optimistic.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Dave, Theo, thoughts?
I think we hit them all. I will echo Jamie's sentiments, though. Maybe we get some Danny next week.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I know. I think we're due.
The only other thing I guess I would say, Eddie, Catherine, and Theo, is that Catherine discovering that like she was modeling the wrong shit. Where it's you just can't hold yourself responsible for modeling everything because everyone's trying to live their own fucking lives. And I've had this conversation with my mom before. My mom is famously among our friends. Like obviously, both of you have known my mom for a very long time. Different ways. Like my mom is truly, I know a lot of people say shit like this, but like one of the best people on earth. Like everyone knows this about my mom. Like she is actively good in a way that almost every human being on earth isn't. You know, she does more good, etc. But my mom does this thing where she will, like, if I have any problem, like, she will scramble to blame herself for how she modeled something to do it. And I've told her, I'm like, this is actually selfish. Like, it's not good to be like, your problems are because of me. It ends up being it's like a self-centered thing. Because you cannot be responsible for the problems in everyone else's lives unless you're God. You know, like that is like you can't do that. And so I understand Catherine here being like, oh geez, I was modeling the wrong thing. It's not even that she's wrong, but also you're a flawed person because you're a person.
And you meant well.
Yeah.
You were trying, and it's like he's not totally screwed up. He's actually pretty cool right now.
Theo's like the coolest guy in town right now, so it's fine.
But only because Danny's out of town apparently.
Yeah.
But it's not. You're gonna fuck it up. If you're a parent, you're gonna fuck it up in some way.
If you're a kid, if you're not a parent, everyone's gonna fuck it up. This is my experience.
Yeah, it's just like talking about that with people today, and also it's like you could parent to get like literally twins exactly the same way, and they won't react the same way.
Yep.
To all the stuff. So it's just like there's no exact right answer.
Yeah, because people are people.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Any parting thoughts plot-wise, Dave, before we close it up?
No, I'm just glad to be back with you guys. I know it's hard to get on the same page.
It is hard. We have the three people with three jobs with distinctly different schedules. Like myself and Jamie, like we don't see each other that much. I mean, it's like Jamie works early mornings and I work late nights. So it's and then Dave is in a different time zone, etc. So it's so thanks for listening. At A Million Low Podcast on Instagram. At A Million I literally don't even know what we are on Twitter, and we have
A Million Podcasts.
Yes. All right. Cool. At A Million Podcast on Twitter. Does anyone here know how many more episodes we have in this season? In the
Feels
second
like
half?
a Dave question.
It does. Dave knows more of this shit.
No, I don't. I don't. I just know it's on the next couple of weeks with no reruns. That's all right.
We're living week to week, baby. We're living in the moment. Thanks for listening, everybody. Hopefully we'll be back on time next week, too. I think we will. Oh no, I think we. I don't know. I am actually gonna be in Arizona.
Oh shit!
I'm going to spring training with my brothers next week, but we'll figure it out.
It'll be there eventually.
Yeah, we'll do it. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye bye.
A million little bye.